Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rikakwadash. Double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders from Great Millstone who deserve double honors. This is Naaman with the DC camp. And in this video, a lot of our people have settled for whatever they can get in America, specifically in America. And for some reason, they just can't see how much this devil hates us. All right, they work themselves until point of exhaustion to try to achieve the American dream, so-called. All right, and a lot of our people still believe in that bullshit. All right, it's the American nightmare. And in this article here, it explains down in New Orleans how our people were purposely set up on top of a toxic dump. All right, and it reminds me of a story in Second Maccabees. I'll get to that later, but as you see the article here, this is from the Washington Post. It says Gordon Plaza, that's the name of the development, was sold as a dream for black home buyers. It was a toxic nightmare. This is proof, because how could you not know this? This was done on purpose, as you'll see. All right. It says New Orleans city officials allowed developers to build homes on land contaminated with chemicals linked to cancer. They didn't tell the people who moved in, and guess who those people were? Yep, shouldn't be too hard to guess. And here is land that after the houses were removed, it says the foundations have not been touched as demolition companies fear the ground's toxicity. Here are the people that tore down the shit, they're afraid to go back in and tear up the foundations. That's how toxic this shit was. And yet, guess where they put our people? It says 28 years have gone by, but Joshua Allen, a king, still remembers the knock at the door. Strangers from the Environmental Protection Agency walked into his house and spoke to his mom. She buried her face in her hands. Please tell me this is not true, he recalled her saying, over and over and over. It was true. Viola Allen's dream home sits atop a nightmare. The city of New Orleans built 67 ranch-style houses on a sprawling former garbage dump in the late 70s without saying a word to the black, mostly first-time home buyers who were encouraged to move there by city officials. See, there's always a trick. All right? Always a trick. But our people get so eager. All right? Oh man, I'll be the first one in my family to own my own home, for what you would think be noble reasons, such as, you want to get away from all the bullshit, projects, whatever have you. You want to raise your family. But all this, our people not realizing who they really are and that they're under the curses, it wouldn't matter. That's why we're out here on the highways and byways. All right. The elder apostles, their teachers, and so on before them, all right, have been saying this for decades. All right. And it's not that it hasn't paid off. It's just that, well, as we know, 2/3 of our people got to go. All right. So a lot of our people weren't meant to hear it anyway. All right. But still, we get caught up in, what's the thing? Since we were little, get good grades. That way you can get into college, get your education, get you a good job, not realizing that in itself is wrong. You've been groomed not to so you can go to school and maybe become an entrepreneur, get your own business, but what was it? Go to school, get your education, get your good job, get your career. maybe in the government, or you take the sports route. All right. Anyway, continuing on, it says, under the untreated soil where the new residents planted fruit trees, grew flower gardens, and watched their children play in the dirt, were 149 toxic contaminants, 49 of them linked to cancer, according to an analysis by the EPA. The saga of 57 families living on the former agricultural street landfill in the Gordon Plaza housing subdivision is considered by many to be one of the worst examples of environmental injustice in the United States. All right. Me personally, I've never heard about this. I have heard about, if you remember the movie Aaron Brockovich, but of course, you know, it's those people. All right. And various other, you know, incidents here and there throughout, but nothing like this where it concerns our people. I wonder why. Continuing on, see, this devil, he thinks he's gotten away with all of this, but we know that's not the case. All of this is just stacked up to the point to whereas in Revelation 18, it says, you know, it's up into the heavens. All right? And that's why he's going to get double. James 2:13 says what? All right? He that showeth no mercy is going to receive no mercy. All right? So you don't get away. And all this was done on purpose. Don't think it was an accident. They knew what they were doing. But this has been an ongoing effort to what? Get rid of the children of Israel. The higher ups know who we are. And thanks to us, also a lot of people, Joe Six-Packs and whatever have you. A lot of them, I don't want to say a lot, but I think you would be surprised how many knew or suspected who we were all along. All right. Anyway, continuing on. Well, matter of fact, let me get a couple of scriptures now. Hold on. Because, like I say, he is not going to get away. Let's go to Psalm 7. Scroll on down. All right. This is Psalm 7. I will start, let's see, 11. It says, the Most High Yahweh judgeth the righteous, and the Most High is angry with the wicked every day, which they are. Malachi 1, verses 1 through 4, point being in verse 4. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors, which they are, of us. 14, behold, he travaileth with iniquity, sin upon sin, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. 15, he made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. And we know that these curses are being transferred as of Deuteronomy 30 and 7. They're catching hell now. All right. 16, his mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pay. He already got a taste of it with that opioid crisis. All right. You see how they demonized our people doing, and I've been watching this series Snowfall. I had to do a lot of catching up. Man, that's some wicked ass shit. All right, but they demonized our people. They didn't say, well, these people need help. Why? Because they're the ones that push it in our neighborhood. Because the whole thing has been what? Going to Psalms 83 to keep us from becoming a nation. You have a nation, our people, within a nation. We are under subjection. All right. Again, 16, his mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. I will praise the Most High Yahweh according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Most High Yahweh Most High. Yes. Why? Because it is righteousness. Remember, he who showed no mercy shall receive no mercy. All right? Everything's going back on this devil, and there's nothing he can do about it. He's pushing to try to establish his new world order. That's not going to work. All right, you can see these games he's playing, trying to figure out who's still with him. And these jackasses that, got that procedure done, took that shit. Well, you're screwed. There's nothing more I can say. Well, you dismissed what we said and chalked it up to conspiracy theory. Like everybody's been programmed. Once they hear that phrase, they're like, oh, no, it must be, some bullshit. When in actuality, you're on the right track more times than not. All right. But that's only because you believe, all right, in the oppressor. You love being oppressed. Anyway, back to the article here. It says the boundaries of the old landfill were certified as a Superfund site in 1994. And now, nearly 3 decades after residents finally learned they were living on deadly ground, government officials have refused their demand to be listen to this, have refused their demand to be relocated from homes that lost their appeal and nearly all of their value. The properties are almost impossible to sell because of the contamination, so they're just fucked. All right, it said Akeem, who was 11 when EPA officials, environmental experts visited his mom that day in 1993. Even more audacious, lawyers and advocates for the homeowner say is that after residents were originally awarded a $90 million state court judgment against the city, which approved the construction, officials have refused to pay. The housing authority, which funded the development with federal dollars, and the public school system, which built an elementary school at the site, an elementary school where your children, not only do you live there, but they got all your kids congregating together 5 days out of the week on highly contaminated ground, or on top of it, rather, which built an elementary school at the site well after the contamination was revealed, showing you even more that they didn't give a fuck. Like it says at the top of this, they were aware of the situation, but they did it anyway. That's a big fuck you. We don't care about you niggers. And a lot of you, even after learning of this, that live down there, you refuse to believe how much this motherfucker hates you. Hates us. And you see this little caption here. Inside the brackets, it says, it's a related story. It says, deadly air pollutant systematically and disproportionately harms Americans of color. Anyway, continuing on with this, an obscure Louisiana law shields municipalities, get this, from being forced to pay damages, attorneys said. Earlier this month, a judge reaffirmed a 2006 court decision, but agreed with an appellate court's decision to lower the damages, awarding $75 million to a class of 5,000 plaintiffs. Lawyers said they doubt that the plaintiffs will ever see a dime because they have the means to keep it held up in the courts until a lot of them, all of them, die off. And our people want to stay here and be subjected to bullshit like this over and over again about people who are proving that they don't give a shit about you. They want you to die. You're at constant war to get you through the music, drugs in the neighborhood. The police will shoot you. It's like a million ways to die in this motherfucker. And you hadn't caught on to the fact that this is punishment to us. Like, well, why are we, hey, the curses. That's what we're trying to tell our people. This is punishment because we turned our backs on our power. The Most High Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shah. All right? And this place must and will be destroyed. It goes on to say this case is a living example of the need for environmental justice, and it screams out as an example of environmental racism. Yeah, no shit. The residents of the agricultural street landfill were hard-working, honest folks who worked multiple jobs trying to attain the American dream of home ownership, only to suffer an American nightmare when the very soil under their homes literally started to kill them. It's yet another challenge that the Biden administration has taken on in its bid to right historic wrongs done to underprivileged opportunities, disproportionately burdened by the pollution. See, no, that's not it. Let's go to Job. This is what's going on. This is Job 20. All right. Let's see. I'll start at 4 and I'll skip down. It says, Job 20, verse 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Once again, verse 5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and these motherfuckers are wicked. They are the wicked, all right? We're talking about the so-called white man here, who belonged to the biblical nation of Edom, all right? And the joy of the hypocrite, which they are, but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach into the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Isaiah 14th chapter. He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. A lot of these countries, as it goes into Revelation 18, because they became rich, mainly, you know, because of us, all right, they're going to mourn, all right, when his place is up in smoke. It says, here's the point, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. There's no way you've taken way more than it's in your power to restore. So, what's the penalty for all that? We know that there's so much blood on this land, both northern and southern kingdoms, all right? There's no way out of this. That's called a blood debt. This is Numbers 35 and 33. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land which this is, wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. No matter how many stupid, ignorant, fucked up ass Christians you get, all right, to so-called pray for the Most High to bless this land, it's not. It can't be done because your God is not our God, all right? As it says here, it has to be, it's only going to be cleansed by the blood of him that shed all that blood, and that's the blood of the Israelites, all right? Now let's go back to where I was in Job, all right? His bones are full of the sin of his youth. All that shit you've done. See, it's built up. You got an answer for all that. All right? All of that. Because you are a true bastard. You have no heavenly father. All right? So all that, going to these churches with that dead spirit of yours, you might as well just pull up a chair into a mausoleum when you go to them Edomite churches, all right? At least with Jake, you know, we can go into, well, let's go there real quick, even though they have All right, even though that it says, verse 1 is Romans 10 and 1. It says, Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High, the power of Israel, is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, Yahweh, but not according to knowledge. Why? Because these Edomites set these preachers up, so-called spiritual leaders, to deceive our people. And this is just a plot to keep them from becoming aware of who they really are. Like I said earlier, 2/3 of our people got to go. They're just gone to the point that they just got to die, go in the spirit world, and, whole lot of our people. It says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. All right, let me skip on down. 15, he hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Vomiting is a violent act for those, if you haven't vomited before, worshiping at the shrine, the porcelain shrine, calling Earl. All right, he hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. All right. That which he labored for, verse 18, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. All that shit, when you get to Isaiah 60, all the heathen, everybody, our gates going to be continually open, and they're going to bring us their substance. All right. Here it is, 19, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, which is Israel, because he hath violently taken away an house which he buildeth not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, and shall not save of that which he desired. All right. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. 22. This is when he thinks he's got this new world order set up, things going the way he wants just before. He's about to think of a dinner table. You got these elites. You got all the silverware and sterling silver, whatever, laid out. You got your good china out. And you got all the silver platters and dishes, and aside from the cutlery, you got your cups, whatever. Everything's nice. Got a big ass fucking whatever kind of wood, mahogany table, whatever have you. Got it all decked out. Everybody sitting around, yeah, getting ready to throw down. Got that good wine. All right. Then all of a sudden, the doors get kicked in. 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. All right. That means degrees of difficulty. All right. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. It's not talking about, it's talking about your common man, your laborers. When you go into James 5th chapter, it explains that. All right. Those have been defrauded. All right. 23, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So now let's go. I mentioned, let me see what's left of this article. I mentioned a story in 2nd Maccabees, and I'll get to that. For some reason, this thing is damn devil's frozen up on me. Just a second. Let's see. All right, here we go. That's he's 37 now. This is the Jake here. All right. This is where he grew up. It says the solution for Gordon Plaza is far more difficult than the success the administration has achieved so far. All right. And it talks about an incident that happened in the Virgin Islands All right, that a similar situation where a gas refinery had dumped oil where the people had lived. Um, Damn, EPA. It says before the EPA warned Allen and her neighbors that the ground where they raised their families was toxic, it spent 9 years telling them it was safe, so they lied straight to their face. Between 1986 and 1993, the EPA reassessed how it categorized toxicity of a number of contaminants and finally deemed that the agricultural street landfill site was unsafe. As federal and local officials stood by, cancer became a fact of life for the people there. The Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry discovered a breast cancer cluster and reported that black women in the agricultural street landfill census tract had a 57% excess risk of breast cancer over 9 years, ending in 1997. More recently, a 2019 report by the Louisiana Tumor Registry found that the census tract where Gordon Plaza sits had the second highest consistent cancer rate in Louisiana. It is nearly impossible to link cancer to a toxic substance, so experts could not be definitive about the risk, but residents were terrified. Everybody knows somebody in the neighborhood who has cancer and has died from cancer, says Hakeem, who moved away from the area decades ago when he joined the military. He never moved back. It says arsenic and playgrounds. I'm sure you've heard of that before. Gordon Plaza was a beacon for black people who dreamed of owning a home. Located in a part of New Orleans with a come hither name, Desire, and a curvy road called Abundance in the upper Ninth Ward, it dripped with Big Easy charm. Black people had been excluded from the best neighborhoods by racist housing covenants, redlining, and legal racial separation, but this middle-class housing was built especially for them. Now you know why. Let me go to this article in 2nd Maccabees. This is going to be because our people are so gullible. They want to trust in this devil, and they believe every word that comes out of his mouth as if it's the gospel truth. All right? And this is what they get as a result. They're unaware who their enemy is. And we're like, haven't you figured this out for as long as we've been here? Salaki, I don't know. It's froze up on me again. Hold on. Here we go. This is 2nd Maccabees chapter 12. Let's see. I will start at 3. It says, the men of Job also did such an ungodly deed. They prayed the Jews that dwelt among them to go with their wives and children to the boats which they had prepared, as though they had meant them no harm or no hurt, who accepted of it according to the common decree of the city, as being desirous to live in peace and suspecting nothing. But when they were gone forth into the deep, they drowned no less than 200 of them. When Judas heard of this cruelty done unto his countrymen, he commanded those that were with him to make them ready. And calling upon the Most High Yahweh, the righteous judge, he came against those murderers of his brethren, and burnt the haven by night, and set the boats on fire, and those that fled thither he slew. See, this is an example of all our people. All they wanted to do is go on about their business, be at peace, but this devil keeps coming up with ways to do us in. All right, and usually it's by the establishment of false flags. He needs an excuse to do something. All right, like that whole Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They used the excuse that this Jake was trying to rape this girl, but the thing is with that, it was proven that They were in a relationship, and she told him right then and there, no, he didn't do anything. He just slipped, you know, tried to catch his balance and grabbed hold of her, just trying to right himself. But they used that as an excuse because Jake was too successful. They were jealous. They were envious, ultimately. And that was a perfect opportunity. Yeah, the guy's name was, he was adopted. Um, his nickname was Diamond Dick Rowland. All right. Yeah. And he snuck back in, I think, like 3 months after that happened and talked to his foster mother. And he said he was sorry, and they talked, and he left. She never saw him again. He wrote to her, but the damage was, I mean, damn. And then ended up the white girl, they fled to like Kansas or somewhere, and then she left him not long after that. So it was all for naught. And then he ended up in California working on a dock somewhere, and she said later that she had heard that he got killed working the docks. I forget exactly where. But yeah, this is what, you know, this is why we got to get the fuck up out of here. Nothing, this is always going to continue to happen as long as we're here, because we're in the hands of those who hate us. It says, let's see. It says, as African Americans began to ascend in population and voting power, the city's white mayor, Victor Shiro, entered into a cooperative agreement with the white-run Housing Authority in 1967 to plan the new development. All right, and this is all, here's another Jake that, you know, was a resident. Uh, this is what they have to do, much like what? What does that remind you of? Flint, Michigan, right? This is how they gotta drink their water and cook with it. Goddamn shame, man. Damn shame. Ah. Shannon Rainey, this is her, realized something was wrong in the early 90s when she dug a hole behind her house to plant a tree. Her shovel struck a solid object. I found a canister in my yard, and it had just a skeleton head on it, along with the ex, who worked in a city administrative office under Morial and had inside information about the sale of homes in Gordon Plaza. She knew the X stood for crossbones. Now I'm breathing toxins every day. Nate Parker realized something was wrong when he walked out his front door in the early 90s and saw white vapor rising from the soil. In the morning, my dad would walk and he saw smoke coming from off the ground, said his daughter. Parker was a do the right thing kind of father who coveted homeownership as a financial legacy for his family. See, these devils knew what they were doing. We couldn't establish generational wealth. All right. It says, with a shopping center and plans for an elementary school, Parker and other residents felt they had no reason to ever leave their all-inclusive community. You know, you don't have to put up with certain shit from your enemy. No. It was never meant to be. Akeem's voice cracked as he talked about his adoptive mother's reaction after she learned of the contamination and how the news altered their lives. She never regrouped, he said. She always came to us apologizing. She was like, I'm killing my kids. Akeem was ordered to stop playing in the yard, and his mom had a new daily chore, wiping away household dust with bleach. A woman who had once focused on the positive became an angry crusader. She dragged Akeem to meetings where environmentalists and health consultants warned residents of the possible effects of living on land saturated with poison. All right, neurological disorder, memory loss, stomach ailments, and more. Studies have linked arsenic toxicity to Alzheimer's disease. My mom has dementia, the same thing the EPA told them that they can possibly get. Then came the tears. She doesn't know who I am. She lives in the same house because she has nowhere else to go. And I'm gonna let you, for time's sake, I didn't expect it to go on this long, but you can read the rest of it for yourself. Uh, this guy here, Jesse Perkins, 61, a resident of Gorson Plaza, stands in front of the house he bought in the early 80s. All right. This is Jake. You know, this is a long article. So this is some bullshit, man. This is just talking about hatred. This is hatred. This is hatred. Unacceptable risk. Thousands said they were harmed. Homeowners, cancer patients. All right. This is some fucked up shit, man. Got to get the fuck up out of here. You know. That's what they're saying in one of the sayings in the military, one of those, it says when it absolutely, positively has to be destroyed overnight, this is America. That's America. All right. So with that, hey, shalom.